Hey, everybody, Mark Herman, a.k.a. LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I am joined here by my close friend and partner in crime, Heath Goldman. And I thought we're going to do a recap of the Super Bowl, but I thought it would be great to have Heath there because we were both at the game, completely different locations. We actually didn't even get to connect at the game, but I thought it'd be great, to kind of do a recap of the Super Bowl and give our experiences. So this is a Super Bowl recap, Jungle Talk. Yeah. And I know it's hard to be excited. I'm still, I inside, I feel like Heath looks right now. It was kind of numb, I don't know about you, but when we were driving, we got the ball back with a minute and a half, 2 timeouts. I said, that's exactly what we wanted. Right. And we hit the first pass to Chase. And I said, that's it. We're at least overtime, right? We're one first down away. And then we hit Boyd. And we were like, okay, now we just need 1 more yard. And then we'll, get another set of downs. And then we'll get into it. That second, third, fourth down call, I didn't like any of them personally. So it was kind of really like, here I was building up towards another overtime finish. And instead we were exiting the stadium so that the Rams could enjoy their trophy presentation. I didn't stay for it. I don't know if you did, but
absolutely not. Looking back on it, I probably should have, just to trying to see the whole experience. This was a bucket list item for me. Took my 17-year-old son. We had a blast. It was an amazing day, and we were just so close. But there were things during that game that frustrated me.
Yeah, no, it's a bucket list moment for me. I took my 23. Yeah, no, she had just turned 24 on Saturday. So I took my 24-year-old daughter. Then we were all together, in Vegas. But this one, we got there, we took different shuttles, and then we got there and, bought some things and kind of walked around. And the next thing we were hungry. And then I got your text late, so we weren't able to come over to your tailgate. But you and Josh and a bunch of the people were all at this big tailgate.
Yeah, On Location, which is where we bought our tickets from, had tailgate parties. So once you entered, you had all the free food and drinks you can muster. So they had cornhole, and they had concerts and music and bands and performances and drum solos. I mean, it was really well done. But I will tell you one thing, Mark, and I know you saw it too. We owned that stadium. I mean, the Los Angeles Rams in Los Angeles, that stadium was predominantly black and orange, and it was amazing to see.
I heard from somebody who has no dog in the fight. It was a friend of my daughter's that worked at the stadium, worked at a promotion thing. They had a VIP tailgate that we couldn't get into. We were hoping to, but he said that the ticket sales were 57-43 in favor of the Bengals. And I shot a video around. There was a lot of orange. When we scored to start the third quarter, the first play of the third quarter on the, it should have been a penalty, but they didn't call it. They were letting things go. We'll get into that. But when they scored, you could hear the Houday chant in that stadium. There was no mystery. And I said, it's more than 50-50. We definitely had it. So I heard 57-43. I don't know how they gauge that, if they go by zip code, or I don't know how they figure that out. But I felt like we traveled real well. I was very, very proud of our fan base. The fact that being in Cincinnati and the other teams' fan base didn't have to travel. I was really, really impressed with how well and how well behaved we were. I thought the Bengal fans, I heard, we had a drunk couple Ram fans. I thought they were fighting. They just lost their balance. They were so hammered. But I thought the Bengal fans were pretty well behaved. The whole experience, like I said, everything was great except for the outcome.
Exactly.
So, and I bought some gear. I brought a Chase t-shirt just because it had the Super Bowl logo. There it is. So I bought a few things, but I thought, like I said, bucket list moment for me. I'm glad I was there. I had a chance to be there in '89. Didn't do it. Would have been the same feeling, and I would have had a whole plane flight home from Florida there. Here, at least I just had to do the shuttle home last night. I don't know about you. I had trouble falling asleep. You and I were texting at like 11. I was I was still pretty charged up, but let's get into
my family lives in Arizona, so I'm hoping we get back there next year.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, I remember I texted you last night. I said, hey, we get back there next year's Arizona. That's a short plane flight. Then you said, hey, My sister, we'll drive. We got my sister's house. So hey, why not? We'll get into that because I want to talk about Burrow's presser. I do not want this show to be about the refs. Okay. They let a lot of stuff go. Chase was being mauled. There was a lot going on. So they let the play go. I think they probably didn't see the contact for whatever reason. Higgins' touchdown stood, but then there were just as many botched calls. I thought they should have just let him play. And then they flag us. There's 6 flags in the whole game. And then there's 4 flags in like 5 plays. I was like, make up your mind. They step in the last 2 minutes. With that said, we had a chance to tie or win the game. So I don't want this to be about the referees. Couple stats that were huge to me: 3 out of 14 on third down. If we convert some third downs, guys, we win this game. I mean, this reminds me a lot of 88-89 because I point to 88-89. Hey, if Crumry doesn't rip up his knee, we win. If Stanley Wilson doesn't go rogue, we win. I mean, there's so many things. Just one thing happens, we win. Phillips catches the interception, we win. Any one of those things. I felt the same way about this game. We just convert some third downs, we win. Boyd doesn't drop that ball. Remember the possession when we had to give it back to the Rams? Boyd was hit. On a 3rd and 9, he caught the ball 7 yards in on single coverage. It was his first drop of the year. He had 99 targets during the regular season and playoffs, and he dropped none of them until that ball. He catches that. We win the game. And then my big problem was the last 3 play calls. We can get into this. What was your feeling?
Yeah, well, I'm not really paying attention to the last 3 play calls. I will tell you the one play call that really drove me crazy, and it has all year from these coaches. I know this whole analytics and everything else. The first 4th down in the earlier of the first quarter, I looked at my son and I said, we got to pooch kick this and pin them deep and let our defense stop. And what do? We go for it on 4th and 1 on the 40-something. We give them a short field, and the next thing you know, OBJ's got a touchdown to put us down 7-0 already. I just want to get back to the old style of field, play in positional field,
right?
And didn't do it. And I know it's not just Taylor. I mean, all these coaches the same way now. This analytics, but it drives me absolutely crazy because when your defense is as good as ours, put them on the field on a short field. Pin them deep, give them a long field, and make the defense play the game. I don't know. It drives me crazy.
I didn't mind going for it so much on 4th down because it was midfield. And my rule is if we're going to go for it, I want that conversion of the down to lead to points. So we're at a position of the field where if you get the first down, most likely you're going to get 7 or 8 more yards, and at least you get into money mac range. So it will lead to points. I hate going for it when that first down doesn't immediately translate into points. So I didn't mind, but I hated the play call. So and then on the last 3 plays of the game, so we hit Chase on the ball, get close to midfield. We get 8 yards or 7 yards with Tyler Boyd. And then we throw the incomplete pass and then the Pirine, that run. Why is Mixon not on the field with that? That troubled me. I mean, I think Mixon's got a lower center of gravity because he's got shorter legs. And when we're looking for 1 yard, maybe he's able to lean forward and fight off Donald. I just didn't like it. And then to run the same play, let's do some kind of something. I just didn't like when Donald's affecting everything. He's getting in there enough to stop Pirine. Why do we have Burrow in the shotgun with a compromised knee? I mean, clearly he probably strained something. We don't have a report yet, but I hated those. To have it end on that. It was like Garoppolo last a couple of weeks ago. To have it end on that play was just heartbreaking. So
the stench of this jersey from yesterday is the stench that I still feel about that game. But you know what? It was an amazing season. You and I talked about at the beginning of the year. We were hoping to have this feeling next year or the year after when Joe's in his 3rd and 4th years. Not really his first year and a half in the league, because we missed a half a year with him being injured. It is an amazing feeling to have been there anyways, but I would have loved to have brought one home.
Yeah, I was really fired.
Never had one.
I was hoping to be there, for the trophy presentation, and it hurt, but I didn't want. I don't want to overshadow the fact that if you watch my preview video to start the season, I said 9-8, 10-7, maybe we contend for a playoff spot. I never envisioned us winning the division.
No.
And then once we get a playoff spot, I'm just hoping to get the monkey off our back with the drought. We win that first game, but I never envisioned we'd go to Tennessee and win, and then go to Arrowhead for the second, go to Arrowhead to play the Chiefs for the second time in 4 weeks and pull it off to get to the Super Bowl. So I want to talk a little bit.
Let me mention one thing, though.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm a huge Phoenix Suns fan. So I've got the Phoenix Suns losing, in the championship, in the NBA championships, and now the Bengals losing in the Super Bowl. It's been a tough 2 sports for me this year.
But at least the Suns got there, right? Chris Paul finally got to a final of it. So I want to talk about Burrow's presser. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's available on Bengals.com. I watched it when I got home last night, but he talked about watching the Kurt Warner documentary because we had the 2-week layover. So last week, I guess he had some spare time and he watched the Kurt Warner documentary. And the thing that resonated with him was he talked about Kurt Warner saying that when the Rams lost the Super Bowl the next year, they beat the Titans, then they play the Patriots and they lose. He said that they held on to that defeat way too long. He said they dwelled on it and it affected them the next season. And that team, that greatest show on turf, never got back to the Super Bowl. Never even got close to it. And he said part of that was because they let that negative energy. He said there were a lot of positive things to draw. They had gone to back-to-back Super Bowls. There were a lot of positive things to draw from that, and they didn't do that. And he felt that negative energy affected them. So Burrow said, I don't want to lose sight of how much we accomplished this year. So, which I thought was a really, really good mental outlook, because that's what you got to do. You got to learn from this. You got to say, hey, this was an education. And next year you'll know when we get back to the Super Bowl, you'll have already experienced the pressure, the traveling, the schedule, the longer halftime, all the things. So I was really pleased. Once again, Burrow just amazes me. He's so much more mature than his age when you just listen to him speak, deal with the press, how he deals with social media, telling kids to not put stuff, athletes don't put stuff on social media. I mean, he's mature for his age. So he always impresses me.
And one thing also that's interesting is these 2 teams could be going in very different directions. We're the 4th youngest team in the league with a lot of cap space. They're negative cap space. They've got key free agent signings. They've got OBJ, who's now probably gone for a year. He did tear his ACL. I just read that about an hour ago. I mean, I don't want to wish ill will on any of them. I was happy to see him go down. I was hoping he'd just be gone for the game and not be severely injured. But, unfortunately, he did tear that ACL. And I saw that there's now a starting the players are starting to yell about these turf fields because that was a non-contact. He was.
Oh, yeah. No, you saw the play.
And he just went down.
He gets his cleat caught in the turf, and you see his body keep moving, and you just see him stop and fall down. And there's nobody within a yard or 2 of him. I mean, he was going to make a move, and nobody wants the illegal contact right after 5 yards. So he had all the space, and it was just one of those non-contact. And those are the worst ones. They really are. The ones with contact, your body's kind of going with everything. Those seem to be the ones where, because your whole body just goes and you have one part staying and it's all your motion. And when you're hit and there's a collision and all that, a lot of the force is stopped with the I'm not an engineer, but when you're just those non-contact ones always turn out to be the worst. So, well, I want go ahead.
We definitely need a few players to fill some spots. We need a shutdown quarter. I don't think we have a shutdown quarter, and we've got to fill some spots on that offensive line. That has to be a priority. We've made it a priority in the free agent signing, and that didn't work out so well with it. The injury to Reef or Rife, however you say it.
Reef, yeah.
It's got to get fixed. I mean, 7 and 8 sacks a game, and franchise quarterback. It just can't happen. But we did one thing this year that is very tough to do in the NFL. And that was stayed relatively healthy.
Yeah. We didn't have any huge injuries. We lost defensive linemen late. We lost, but overall we did pretty well. I think Burrow's going to have like a strained, knee. I think there's going to be some kind of a strain there. But he said in his presser, he goes, Oh, I'm not letting we could check it out, when we get back to Cincinnati. He was not coming off the field, which leads me to believe it wasn't torn. Because if it was torn, you get OBJ's result where Burrow's not trying to get back out on the field because he knows he's going to hurt his team. So clearly, I think, but there's a strain and he'll have time to heal. Yeah,
I see plenty of time to heal.
Yeah, I see the same thing. We need to re-sign Bates. Okay, Bates needs to be extended, and then we need to fix the O-line. And I put down add another, shut down DB and add another edge rusher. And I definitely think, and we can address all those. We have free agent money. We've got it's like you just said. The Rams, OBJ's gone. Von Miller's contract's up. Aaron Donald's talking retirement. Whitworth is going to retire. He'll sign a one-day contract and retire a Bengal, but Whitworth is going to retire. You have this team will look remarkably different, the Rams. We will look the same with some new pieces. Maybe Reef wants to sign with us. He was only on a one-year deal. Maybe he signs with us. If not, we replace him. Top priority in the draft. I want to see 2 or 3 offensive linemen taken in the draft. I mean, we need to bring in bodies to fix the right side of our line. And if nothing else, shore up the left side in case we have something that happens to Spain or Williams next year. So we need the depth. And we could go with another linebacker too, because those guys play on special teams. And one of the things, if you don't think special teams matters, I went to the game. One of the people that with our 4th ticket was a Packer fan. And the whole time he said, yeah, we had any kind of special teams, they wouldn't have lost to the 49ers. So, I mean, special teams matter. Our special teams outside of the one game when Darius Phillips couldn't field a punt and gifted 10 points to San Francisco. Overall, our special teams was really good. So I say, like I said, we'll be back next year. I'm like I said, I'm convinced of it. We have a bright future. Everything's ahead for us. It's just a shame because I think we missed an opportunity here.
Very much so. And I will tell you, I saw a great shirt, and that is why you draft a kicker.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I've seen those. They're all over. Is that? And you know what? I thought we were getting. There was no. Wasn't it nice to know that if we had actually gotten into field goal range, you wouldn't even. You don't worry. With Bullock, it was like a coin flip when he came out. You're like, well, man, are we going to get good Randy or bad Randy? You didn't know. So this one was one of those where if we had gotten there, Money Mac's going to turn to him and say, "Hey, overtime, here we come." So. But like I said, there was 48 seconds left. We could have easily, tried for a touchdown to win the game if we just get that first down. A very frustrating end. So, but
I'll tell you what, towards the end there, the bootlegs. I mean, we were not prepared for any of that bootlegging, and that's where Stafford got open and hit Kupp. I mean, you can't have a receiver like Kupp that far open in the corner of the end zone. I mean, it can't happen. But you know what? It was a great season.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have had a Super Bowl victory, first one ever for the franchise. But you're right. We're young. We've got money, and I think we have a piece of the owner who is willing to spend it, and that would be, I think that would be his daughter. I'm not sure Mike Brown would be opening up the pocketbook, but I think he now sees what opening the pocketbook up and having the right talent can do. And I think the amount of money that he made will allow him to spend a little more now.
I think that he's gotten up in years. I think in the 90s, he was content not making the postseason and just having it because the Bengals turned a profit. They just weren't a good team. Right. And I think now he's getting, do you want to win while you're alive? Do you want Katie and Troy holding up the Lombardi, or do you want to be there to see it? And you're not Pharaoh. You're not taking it with you. So go ahead and spend the money now. And we missed on one free agent over the last 2 years. That's Trey Wayans. Everybody else has panned out. So if we spend our money wisely, maybe a veteran offensive lineman, or re-sign Reef, or both, and then draft a couple linemen, I think we can fix it. And we have Frank Pollock. So in Frank Pollock, we trust in terms of training these guys.
You say that though, and that might be true, but I will tell you, our offensive line was a disaster all year. We never really fixed the problem this year.
But we didn't have the personnel. And Frank, with the pieces he had, did the best. We got to the Super Bowl with basically a Denijay and Carmen, right? I mean, look at who we had on the right side. And when Reef was there, we were only kind of, trying to conceal one space that was a problem. But once it became two, that's when it became a revolving door. But Pollock, I think with what he had, did great. Think about Pollock when he had Redmond and those guys. while in the end of the Marvin Lewis era, Mixon led the league in rushing. That's why when he left, Mixon was like, well, we just lost the best offensive line coach. You bring in Turner, and we have 2 years of absolutely horrible offensive line play. But on the plus side, it led to Burrow. So maybe all things happen for a reason. We're not, Burrow's on Miami or something if we didn't, don't do that. So maybe things play out for a reason, and like I said, I tweeted Burrow last night. I think I showed you the tweet, but he posted that apologizing. And I said, you don't need to apologize for anything. The future is bright. And I wrote that one. Also, I want to give a shout out to Awuzie. I sent him a tweet also. You can see all this on my Twitter feed if you want to look at it, but he had a great game. Awuzie played really good. So yeah, so we'll see what happens. But
you said we missed out on Trey Wayans. If I'm not mistaken, we still have him for 2 more years. So hopefully he'll give us a little return on investment at some point.
I don't, you know what? I think we're 2 years in. I would think maybe there's an escape hatch. I don't think, do we give him a 4-year deal? I don't know.
I think it was a 4-year deal.
If in the comments, if you know the terms of Wayne's deal, put it down. Yeah, he's been, and it hasn't been that he's played and we've gone, wow, this guy's terrible. It's been that he's just not playing. I mean, he's
been injured. Yeah,
there's no availability. And you look at some of the stuff, like I said, getting BJ Hill for Price, huge recovery there. So, but if you know the Wayans thing, put it down. But free agency, sign Bates, free agency and draft.
Too.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. It'll be easier to get free agents too, because there are people that want to play on this team now. So
I was talking about that with a friend of mine earlier today, that we are definitely a destination now.
Yeah. Oh, no question. And when you have
Burrow changed the whole landscape of this team.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and they look around at the pieces, and we could easily be back in there next year. So we're going to have to contend with Josh Allen, the Bills, and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And that's why, getting back there is going to be a challenge, but this team's going to be in the conversation. I don't see any reason why we're not a playoff team next year. I just saw I know these are really too early power rankings, but I just saw them and they've got us 5th already in the power rankings. So I think we were 5th from the bottom when the season started. So, they flipped them over. So, but, all right. Well, Heath, thank you for joining me. We had a great time. And think about going to the draft in April. It's in Vegas. We could do another Vegas trip. It'd be fun. We got to get Josh in there and just spitballing, precursor to the Super Bowl in Arizona. So, all right, with that, I only ask for one thing. Please subscribe if you don't subscribe. I'll get up some combine episodes, maybe a pre and post free agency episode. We'll have some episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. Hit the bell so you get the notifications. And with that, I'm going to say, hoo day, everybody.
Hoo day.
Hoo day. Take care.